All right, let's move on now to Trump 2024, possibly. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. The Trump team is leaking first to Axios, but then to every single major paper in the country. November 14th could be the day, maybe, although possibly he might change his mind. As with anything Trump, he probably will, but November 14th for now. The official announcement will be followed, quote, by a multi-day series of political events. Trump and his top advisors have been signaling now 2024 announcement is imminent, and those discussions have reached the point allies are blocking off days in their calendars for the week after the midterms and preparing to travel. Why? Trump is pointing towards a possible good night for Republicans. He wants to surf on the post-midterm euphoria to build momentum for his campaign and to try and retake the White House. He wants to see it as a referendum on him, not on inflation and the broader economy. Why I think this is very interesting is, as always, he wants to preempt as soon as possible anybody who might actually run against him. And we'll get to the DeSantis part, which a lot of people are focusing on in a second. But to me, the major news was Tom Cotton called all of his donors yesterday and officially leaked it. I'm not running in 2024. I think it's smart. He's a young man. Why would you do it? I mean, I've seen a lot of discussion on this. We could save some of this for the DeSantis conversation. But the Mike Pompeos of the world, Tom Cotton, Nikki Haley, any Chris Christie, I mean, you don't have a chance in hell. I mean, I just don't know why it is not eminently obvious to anyone that even in, take Florida, for example, even there, DeSantis is tied with Trump in a head-to-head poll.
Right.
Like New Hampshire, there was that one poll that showed DeSantis ahead, but then actually another one came out and Trump was winning by like 25 points. Like, everybody likes to focus on like one or two polls here or there, but here's the reality. He's the most popular figure in the Republican Party by a mile. Some people don't like him. Most of them are not Republicans today. And as 2020 showed us, you can have a very low approval rating and still get 75 million votes for the presidency if people don't like the other guy. So listen, I mean, it's a formidable candidate. For all of the quote-unquote GOP civil war, I don't think there will be one. It's very smart to announce as early as possible. Personally, I think he should have announced the day that he was raided by the FBI, because that's when Glenn Youngkin and all those other people came out. Everybody was like, oh, he'll screw up the midterms. Listen, Trump is baked in no matter what. At this point, I think people have proven that they care about many things other than Trump.
Well, I think here's the other dynamic is it's very likely Trump is going to get indicted and that's going to happen pretty soon. And what's going to happen is, just like with the raid, everybody from Ron DeSantis to Glenn Youngkin to Mike Pompeo, every single one of them is going to have to defend him when he's indicted, bend the knee once again, just like they did when Mar-a-Lago was raided. It only, with the base, strengthens his hands. It's a different deal with the general electorate, but with the base, it really only makes him stronger, forces them all to, again, come to his aid, show who the real boss is in terms of the Republican Party, and also, once again, focuses the entire media ecosystem around him. So he's planning, it looks like, to announce very quickly before an indictment comes in, and that's also like part of the calculation here. And before anyone, I mean, DeSantis will have just been reelected. He's obviously not going to be in any position to like then just turn around and be like, by the way, now I'm running for president after you just reelected me as governor. And he's able to sort of consolidate support and, you know, really assert his continued dominance of the party. And to me, you know, it's a fairly simple story. I actually think Biden is in a much weaker position. I'm talking about some of this in my monologue vis-a-vis the Democratic Party than Trump is with the Republican Party. So a lot of things he's, you know, ridiculous and can be a fool. But in terms of just political power moves and branding, the dude is a genius, and I think to get out right after the midterms and go ahead and launch your campaign and make it clear to all comers that you're the guy, you're in it, and show that sort of like show of force, show of strength. Yeah, I think it's a savvy move.
And every Republican candidate is going to have to bow. I mean, Oz is going to bow, all of them.
Yeah.
Who are, if you were Walker, you know, let's think, if Walker wins, literally, Trump is the one who picked him. Nobody else wanted Herschel Walker to be the next senator from Georgia. So he's going to have to go and bow with Trump. Every one of these guys, every single time, like, I'm telling you. So I will never forget, I interviewed Trump in 2018, the days after the midterm elections. It was a big interview for me because it was the first interview that he gave after the 2018. And he went race by race. He was obsessed. He's like, look at DeSantis. He was down by 36. I came in, I endorsed him, and he won. Now he won big. You know, he goes down the list of every person. He actually had a list in front of him prepared by his staff of every person he endorsed, what they were at before he endorsed them, how much they won their primary, and then what they won the election by. He is obsessed with getting the credit for, and I anticipate that he's going to be doing that all throughout this tour, whether it's true or not. I mean, look, it's a smart move, right? Like, you're the person, you're going to show, hey, we just had this big GOP support. I'm going to take back the White House in 2024. Well,
one of the things we covered in the Republican primaries was some of the just like embarrassing lengths that Republican candidates would go to try to secure his endorsement. Did not see a similar dynamic with regard to Ron DeSantis. I mean, there's just no doubt that if you are a Republican running in a Republican primary and depending on the Republican base for your power, whose endorsement you would rather have. It's not even close because this is, you know, largely where the base is. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.